for a common purpose, actually, to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. And the topic of our today's session is 100% aligned with the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. It's about a sustainable economy, namely the opportunity to build a social innovation business system in Ukraine. And, you know, according to World Bank calculations, small and medium-sized enterprises represent around 90% of businesses and more than 50% of employment worldwide. Formal SMBs contribute up to 40% of emerging economies' national income. And this is already impressive estimation, I would say. And moreover, around 600 million jobs will be needed by 2030 to absorb the growing global workforce, making SMBs development a high priority for many governments worldwide. In Ukraine, for example, small and medium-sized businesses are the backbone of state's economy, creating over 60% of national GDP, providing 7 million jobs and 40% of tax revenue. And these indicators, actually, they allowed the economy of Ukraine to receive a significant annual income, an annual increase, I would say. However, the ongoing war caused inflation of 35%, which led to the dissolution and termination of large enterprises. Already, more than 5 million people in Ukraine have officially lost their jobs, and this statistic becomes even more horrifying when you consider that, according to the International Labour Organization, Ukraine has only between 15 to 17 million working-age people living there. And thus, taking into account all of this above, we can come to an intermediate conclusion that it's on the shoulders of the SMEs that the entire burden of the post-war restoration of Ukraine will fall. And therefore, today we will have a unique opportunity to hear from the leaders of the social-economic sector of entrepreneurs in Ukraine about their work-related difficulties and their strategy they are developing to help social entrepreneurs in Ukraine. But before I give the word to the first speaker, I would like to say that we will have time for Q&A in the first quarter of our session. However, if you have questions for our hosts, please put them in the chat box and I will ask them to reply. Also, if you want to support some of the projects you'll hear about today, please express your commitment via chat or just raise your hand after each host's speech so I can see you and give you time to share. So now, the first person, actually, I would like to invite to the stage is the co-chair of the Catalyst Ukraine chapter, Google startup and venture capital lead, the founder of Impact Force and United for Ukraine, and definitely a leader of her kind with a track record of 14+ years of experience in business development, sales and marketing. Levchuk, please hit the mic.
Thank you so much, Mykyta. Thank you for such a kind words and great introduction. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining our session. Your support, world support, is very important for Ukraine, as you know, during those days. And it's great to see your faces. So please, as Mykyta already mentioned, if you have any question, myself and my amazing colleagues, Olga, Alena, and Bohdan will be very happy to stop by and answer any moment. And if you find a way to support us, to support our initiative, to support our work, we would be more than happy.
We've lost your audio, I believe. Yeah. We can't hear you.
You cannot hear me?
Oh, now we can.
Okay, sorry. So I was like my lips were moving and it was all silent. Okay, I said a lot of the good things actually. So let me try to repeat. So first I was saying thank you so much, Mykyta, for your kind words. Thank everyone for joining this session. This is crucial for Ukraine. This is crucial for Ukrainians, crucial for all of us. I really appreciate all my colleagues, Olga, Alena, and Bohdan, with whom we collaborating on numerous initiatives together, for finding as well time to join this session. And of course, really appreciate for your time. If you find the way to collaborate with us, if you get interested, we're ready to stop any minute. Please feel free to throw your questions. And we're actually really looking forward to get new connections through the session as part of the Catalyst 2030 network. Before I start, so my name is Levchuk. I'm here representing the Impact Force. I'm a co-founder with amazing Olga Diakova, who will be speaking in 15 minutes after me. Impact Force is Ukrainian-based NGO. What we are doing, we unite global leaders, innovators, and experts in impact-efficient ecosystem to solve the biggest world challenges by empowering the next generation of Ukrainian change maker. And of course, when I'm saying world biggest challenges, I as well mean, of course, Ukraine biggest challenges that we right now all facing. And before I share a brief description about one of our projects, Impact Force overall have three directions where we're currently focusing and supporting Ukraine. First is Impact Business, second is Impact Health, and the third one is Impact Food. Within those directions, we're collaborating with numerous international organizations, but as well local NGOs and very strong local partners. Such as, for example, SILab, that Alena is main lead founder, chair, and so on, and as well with international organization, Ukrainian-based, like Ukrainian Social Venture Fund, together with, again, Alena and Bohdan. So that's just example of a couple of our partners. I will speak today about Impact Business and what is this about and how you could support us and why it's overall needed for Ukraine. And I would love to start with as well some stats. Mykyta already was sharing very interesting preamble of what is going on in Ukraine, but I want to share with you some super interesting numbers that you might not know actually about Ukraine. If you think about the economy of Ukraine itself, as currently the highest level of the political agenda is economical recovery, is that what we're hearing from Mr. President Zelensky, from European Union, and so on. If you think about that, 80% of Ukrainian economy has an impact from the SMEs. So SMEs the key driver actually of Ukraine economy. And then obviously when the war has started, they were the most impacted, right? And if the middle-sized business were trying to sustain the small business, it was pretty complicated. Now, what was happened since the beginning of the war, around 89%, and this was basically researched by Ministry of Digital Transformation, and we as well together later on with SILab and a couple other partners conduct another one research, but I will start with this one. 89% basically of Ukrainian businesses within the SME segment, and the way how they did this research, they did it through Dia Business. Dia Business is a Ukrainian-based platform that has united over 20,000 entrepreneurs and SMEs. So think about this number, 20,000 is kind of big number. So 89% actually were, since the beginning of the war, was shifting their business in order to have a social impact. What does it mean? They had opportunity to introduce some volunteer activities. They introduced as well impact component. They were pivoting their business in order to support army, to support people, to support vulnerable groups, to support basically everything what they could do in order to address challenges that Ukraine was facing, right? And that's exactly one of the principles of the actually social economy, when the businesses are able actually stand up and as well support back or help to the society, right? And so when we saw those numbers, we were thinking about how we could actually all together unite in Ukraine with numerous really great players, including as well government like Ministry of Digital Transformation, and create something that could support those businesses, actually not just do it, without understanding how to integrate the impact component within their business strategy, but actually learn about and make it part of their business strategy for long-lasting effect. So then we did conduct another research together with our partner Gradus, and we identified that 84% still continue doing business and as well having impact component within it without even realizing that they could actually be considered as an impact business. So that was very interesting aha moment, and we said, okay, well, then we need to actually explain what the key benefits of actually introduce SDG within your business model, and what the benefits of having impact component and how to integrate it within your business strategy. Obviously, I mean, Alena and Bohdan, who are real experts in this direction, will tell more about that. But one of the very attractive point of teaching those businesses and support Ukraine with euro integration is investment attractiveness, as easy as it is, right? If the business already that is producing profit and sustainable is able as well introduce within their business strategy for long-term impact component, they definitely could compete way more effective, not only within the local infrastructure, but as well within the global infrastructure. So definitely all of that was on top of our mind, and working hard together with our partners, Schwab Foundation, after the wars that happened in May, and as well talking to Alena, to Bohdan and many other actors in Ukraine, we launched Impact Business in January, so in the beginning of this year. So let me present very quick presentation so you a bit understand more what is Impact Business about. So Impact Business is the first acceleration program for Ukrainian businesses supporting post-war recovery and social impact. Why? I already spoke about that, but in the short glance, right, to reduce the problem of social inequity and lack of opportunity to secure viability and business continuation for entrepreneurs and startups in war-torn Ukraine. If you think about for a second, when the war will be over, right, majority of those people, there would be like especially people who will go back from army or who are doing volunteering for army. They all would be under category of vulnerable groups, and they all will need to be reintroduced to the normal life, right? And they all need again to become part of society. They already obviously are part of society, but it would be a new wave of life, and basically, and there would need to be an ecosystem that could really support them through that period. And that's why we believe our approach is really deserve develop further and cover even more businesses going forward. So what? We are building an ecosystem, as I mentioned, and unique tech platform what empowers entrepreneurs to develop a social impact economy in post-war, which will create a new breed of entrepreneurs and innovators who will fuel the economic recovery and rebuild sustainable and equitable Ukraine in the line with United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Right. So overall, my dream, I always saying, I actually heard this phrase from Francois, who is the director of Schwab Foundation once, but then it's so stick in my mind that I always as well a bit adjusted it and saying that it would be fantastic that in a couple of years there is no economy and social economy, all economy is social, right? And all business is actually doing their business in sustainable way, and that SDG or impact component is a part of every single strategy, not only for the big companies or the big organization or corporates, but as well even for very small, medium medium-sized. So that's what we're doing now for Ukraine, and we do believe that Ukraine has an opportunity to become a country who will raise this new generation of SDG nation that will give example to the whole world, how to really make the economy sustainable and how to build social economy. So impact business balance, social impact and profitability. That's a lot of questions around that. So it's not a pure social entrepreneurship in the way how many people normally would see it or normally would hear about that. I'm living between Ukraine and Germany, and here, for instance, in Germany, very often what I'm facing when we're speaking about social entrepreneurship, it's businesses, it depends on some grants, on some that have as well tax benefits and so on, and they're not really able to generate profit. Now, what we actually building within our program is more about helping businesses who are able to generate profit introduce a social component or impact component and give back to society part of their profit, right? Because we believe those type of business would be able actually to be competitive in the local and international landscape. Now, in terms of our results, what we want to achieve altogether, right? So this is 1 year lens program. We currently selected 25 businesses. I will show you later our geographic and as well SDG mix for those businesses to what they committed. But the next year, we already plan to scale this program. And the year after, we really have a big ambition and big goals to that, like raising new breed of entrepreneurs who will be SDG committed. In terms of the numbers, graduates contribute over 10 million to the GDP in Ukraine in the first year. That's what we aim, right? What is our aim or what is our mission within this program? And 55 million already in year 5. Over 4 million plus beneficiary after 12 months. And 15 million plus beneficiary after 5 years, either directly through products developed by program participants or indirectly through impact programs supported by participants. Post-war social cohesion increases, right? And various social groups, including military veterans, super important, are included in the economic growth. So I will skip those parts. What I wanted to show you is our current participants. You could see here is a very different mix of the companies who producing clothing, the companies who actually supporting city with the water, company that is producing furniture, company that is already actually for a long time have a social component as part of their business. Like there we have amazing company that helping to females who went through how it's called home horror, right? And they basically uniting them in the nice rehab, right, where they're giving them opportunity to make amazing and beautiful clothing. Actually, Alena has one of piece from them, and they were able not just financially support those activities for those vulnerable groups of women, but as well become profitable and sell those beautiful clothing in Ukraine and outside of Ukraine. So it's just example, right? Or very, very famous, actually right now, Made with Bravery. A lot of you who travel through Europe or US might see this sign, Be Brave as Ukraine, and so on, and a lot of clothing through that brand. So they're as well part of this of our accelerator, joint accelerator. And in terms of geography, I'm really proud that we were able actually to get the people from super impacted cities like Kharkiv, for example, or Dnipro, and so on. For those, obviously, businesses is the hardest time because infrastructure is really destroyed, and to accelerate their business or pivot their business, it will require a lot of efforts. But that's why we are looking for our partners, and that's why we ongoingly saying, please join us. This is a joint effort. It's not just about 5 organizations who created this. It's about about every single organization, in every country, or that could actually see as part of their mission to support Ukraine recovery and support those businesses. And in terms of beautiful numbers, as I say, really, when I see those numbers, my heart is very happy. So this is an example of what SDG our businesses are committed, and we have a full portfolio review. I'm not going to stop; it's too long. Otherwise, I will take a whole hour. But if you're interested and you would love to learn about our portfolio, please contact me or Alena or Bohdan or Olga or Mykyta. Each of us has this presentation, and we'll be very happy to share it. So 85 of participating businesses promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth already. Over 50% of businesses ensure responsible consumption and production patterns. 56% of projects are female-led. Obviously, I'm not sure if people who are listening right now knew it, but before even the war, Ukraine was one of the most active from economically social engaged women numbers. So our numbers, if I'm not mistaken, it was above 58% in comparison to the European neighbor countries like Poland, Czechoslovakia. There was something around 40. So like, you know, this female power in Ukraine is very strong. And we are super glad to see those female-led companies within our accelerator as well. 30% of businesses drive positive impact on health, livable cities, and climate action. Yeah, so that's I'm gonna stop here because I want that my colleagues to share more about other aspects of this program and other program, but I would be very happy to answer any question now or later. Let me just stop presenting and see you back now and later. And as I said, if you open for collaboration, if you see it as part of your mission of your company, please contact me, contact Mykyta, and we'll be very happy to share with you our portfolio and as well as a project. So with that, I give back to Mykyta, I guess.
Thank you, Nina, for sharing these highly important, I would say, inputs about the situation in the Ukraine's economy and how the work of the Impact Force, in particular the launch of the Business Accelerator, will lead to a positive transformation of the Ukraine's economy and shift towards a social orientation. Actually, I have one question to you, if you don't mind. What kind of support from the international community is needed for the Accelerator program to reach such a high level of participation, as you mentioned during your slides presentation?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mykyta. That's really great. So we are looking for 4 pillars of support, right? And you could fit in any. Obvious, the first and most obvious one, all those businesses to exist and to be educated, they need money, right? So fundraising is very important for us, and we are ongoingly looking for the partners who could provide either support for our consortium, for our organizations, or directly to the businesses. For instance, Alena Kalibaba, that will be speaking later together with Bohdan, they already brought partner as AVPA, who will give to the 2 participants a grant of 20, non-equity grant of 20,000. So that's amazing, but we have 25 businesses, right? So we need a bit more, I might admit. So that's why if you are open or you have any programs where those businesses, or we could apply on their behalf, or you actually interested to invest, because as I said, all those businesses already make a profit, so it could be very interesting investment case for you as well. The second one is technology. We are planning to scale, as you saw our numbers, and we want to empower this with machine learning and AI. Not ChatGPT, but who will see how it's gonna go. But overall, we're currently in discussion with a couple big technological companies in order to support us with technology aspect. If you as well feel that you are really a powerful player who uniting technological companies and you have a know-how that could support our entrepreneurs, please feel free to contact. Then third one is knowledge sharing. What can we learn from you? Are you from a different country? You did something similar. You went through this, road already, and you could really advise us something. Please, we're always open to learn everyone in our consortium, right, as we could say. And last but not least is expert-based needs. So we're currently identifying the needs of those organizations, and they are very different. Like someone needs consultancy, pro bono consultancy of how to build finance strategy. Someone needs free Salesforce CRM, someone needs something else, right? So, and we are all ongoingly, proactively approaching our partners for pro bono experts. So pro bono experts or pro bono products, if you are such an organization, please as well, feel free to contact us. I might miss, maybe there is a component number 5, right? But if it sparks your interest, just go back to us. Thank you.
Take one time, Lena. Thank you for sharing about impact business. However, I believe social business is not the only component of the successful post-war recovery of Ukraine. Its same integral features are the health and nutrition system, food safety actually. And that's why today we invited a person who deals with impact health and impact food in Ukraine, a co-founder of Impact Force, a member of the How Women Lead community, and a co-founder of the Ukrainian Chapter at the David Lynch Foundation, Olga Diakova. Please welcome on stage.
Thank you, Mykyta. Thank you, everybody. I'm really happy to join the session. Nina, thank you. You described our most important project, impact business. But I just want to mention that when we founded in 2020 Impact Force, we decided with Nina that our focus would be just only on social behavior change and lasting social impact and creating economic opportunities and taking action for the common good. But we can't do this if our nation wouldn't be healthy. Ecosystem that we have built before the war empowered us to quickly connect private and public sector and different kind of institutions and scientists and address the most pressing needs of Ukrainian people, business and communities. And building further this mechanism, we have developed just only our 3 pillars, like impact business, impact health, and impact food, that we believe are addressing the most pressing needs of society. And just let me tell you a bit more about, firstly, about impact health. I'll try to be brief. According to World Health Organization reports, that 22% of people who experienced the war on conflicts in the past decades will develop mental health disease, especially post-traumatic syndrome. Applying these estimates to Ukraine suggests that up to 10 million people, and I guess these are really optimistic numbers, including 60% of military personnel could be affected. And according to National Institute for Health, the socially vulnerable groups, such as veterans and displaced persons, are 3 times more likely to have attempt suicide and over 4 times more likely to get in trouble with police. Current treatment protocol, it's just situation in Ukraine, current treatment protocol for mental health disorders adopted across the globe includes medication. It's like traumatic therapy. However, we increasingly see that it is ineffective. Relieving traumatic events often leads to more trauma for survivors, making them reluctant to seek treatment. Impact Health Program is a comprehensive program aimed at effectively combating stress-included disorders, including PTSD, among these currently impacted and preventing development of mental health issues through easy early identification. Our hypothesis is that through innovative techniques, breathing, meditation, and physical exercise, we can develop a more effective treatment for mental health disorders, mitigation negative effects of when we are talking with therapists and medicated approaches. We aim to maximize our impact through integration with the national program Healthy Nation, headed by Office of President. The solution will be scalable to other crisis-affected areas. And this program are led by Impact Force in coordination with David Lynch Foundation and with the Global Union of Scientists for Peace, and in collaboration with the State Directorate of Affairs of Ukraine. I can speak hours about this program because yes, I'm a co-founder of David Lynch Foundation in Eastern Europe, and I know how exactly transcendental meditation, scientifically proven method against PTSD work. Our aims in this program increased awareness and understanding of stress level among population through whole Ukraine, improved willnesses to seek mental health help, like shift perception among Ukrainians in willnesses to seek mental health by helping themselves, and of course reduce rate of suicide, because the level of suicides in Ukraine, we are #1 in the whole Europe now, unfortunately. So the second one and the last one, our pillar is impact food. Under our umbrella, we have NGO Slow Food, and which focusing an NGO that assists small-scale independent farmers to preserve biodiversity while saving traditional Ukrainian cuisine for prosperity. And here we, in coordination with them, we develop and support projects focused on strengthening local food system and small sales productions, which help to facilitate local access to food and preserve agrobiodiversity. And our dream that most of our local small farmers would be able to join Impact Business Accelerator. So we have already progressed a lot, but with your advocacy, with our unity, we can achieve more. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, you can ask me now or later. Mykyta, floor is yours.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you for sharing this information again about how things are in Ukraine's food and health field today. It's essential to notice these topics, and in war conditions, the opportunity to spotlight them is especially in demand. All right, now, since we have already got acquainted with the socially responsible SMBs movement of Ukraine and learned about food security and healthcare, I believe we now should learn more about the social entrepreneurs who contribute to this development of the social economy and invest in human efforts in its implementation. And one of these people is Alena Kalibaba, CEO of the Ukrainian Social Venture Fund and co-founder of the NGO called SILab Ukraine, an accelerator for social entrepreneurs. Please, the floor is yours, Alena.
Thank you, Mykyta. Thank you, Nina, Ola, and Bohdan for joining, and thank you very much for joining this section and for inviting us. I'm trying to be very short, very brief, just to introduce what we are doing as a SILab Ukraine and how we are working and what the part of how the social enterprises contribute in social development of social economy in Ukraine. I will illustrate it by slides. So here we are. I'm presenting the organization SILab Ukraine. We actually founded this organization 6 years ago. I was operating the, let's say, traditional but innovation business in Kiev. I was working with enterprises, and then we find out that the social enterprises is also the part of SME ecosystem, but at the same time they have this more responsibilities in making impact and declare this publicly, and that's how we started to work with social enterprises. And actually the focus of our organization is development of ecosystem for social entrepreneurship in our country, and to promote the impact investments as a positive culture for Ukraine. So here you see, you can see our organization. We don't have any gender balance in our company. So right now it's only women, but we have men in our board. So in next organization, Social Venture Fund, but still. So we have few goals. We are very focusing on social enterprises. We are developing them. We are trying to create a fundament at the local level, a kind of legal framework for development of social entrepreneurship, and we are trying to provide the easy access for finance for social enterprises. And that's actually how we co-founded the Ukrainian Social Venture Fund, the first impact fund in Ukraine. So, as you can understand from my previous slide, we are doing the training activities. So we help businesses and NGOs like to put and add the commercial component to the activities to develop social enterprises. So we are working with the business models, with business plans, marketing, helping to find the client segments, to test the market and other stuff. Also, we are working with municipalities, helping them to develop the local regional program on how to develop and support social enterprise in their regions. We create the pool of mentors who is from different spheres, from traditional business, from tech business, from creative industries, and their expertise could help and support social enterprises. And also, as I said, so we try to make access to money for social enterprises, because before it was only, let's say, like a grant program. So we would like to make it as an impact investments. And right now we are working on it. Why the social enterprise is very important for social economy? Because just to remind that the aim of the social economy is to achieve economic growth that is socially and environmentally responsible and benefits for well-being of all citizens in our country. And right now, especially, it's very important because Ukraine, right now, we face a lot of challenges in economic, social sphere. And because of the war, we have a high poverty rate right now, in particular in rural areas, and we have a lot of IDPs, as Olga already mentioned. So all these people lost their homes and jobs, and they need support. That's from one hand. From another hand, we also have already a lot of veterans with disabilities, and it's not only mental disabilities, but also physical disabilities. And in order to organize working places for such kind of groups, it needs to be the special, it needs money, and it needs to do special efforts in order to do this. So, and who is actually in charge for this? Usually it's social enterprises and impact-driven businesses who is focusing not only on the commercial part and revenue increasing, but also on making the impact. That's why social entrepreneurship can foster collaboration between social entrepreneurs and traditional businesses. From one side, from another side, it can be the good example for all other businesses how can be integrated and connected the commercial, so the business part and social part. And as Nina mentioned, that's why we actually started this national program, acceleration program, and we are as a partner joining this project because for next, I don't know, maybe 20 years, 30 years, businesses in Ukraine cannot be without impact. It will be the responsibility for businesses thinking not only about money, but also about solving social, environmental, economical projects and problems. And that's why thinking about impact strategy, about impact goals is very important. And by this, we are actually trying to educate the first batch of 25 companies, and next year we hope that we will scale and increase this number. So as SILab, as I said, we are working on development of social entrepreneurship ecosystem, and it's a lot of different parts. As you can see, that the parts that consist the ecosystem for entrepreneurship, and we are working in different parts of this ecosystem. We're providing training, incubation and acceleration program. And from the beginning of the war, we already made 3 programs for newborns. We call them newborns who started their businesses as a response on a war condition, and for growth businesses who is continue to work during the war and want to scale. So we have different formats, the express program, the long-term programs, and the short webinars. We are promoting the social entrepreneurship culture because still it is necessary to be explained in Ukraine what is this and what the differences between social enterprises and traditional businesses. We are working with media, we are working with opinion leaders, we are working through our channels and through our alumni in order to popularize this topic and social entrepreneurship. Institutional framework, as I said, we've been working with municipalities to help them to develop the regional programs. And we already made it with Vinnytsia and Ivano-Frankivsk. So before the war, we actually had in our pipeline few next municipalities, but the war actually changed our plan. I think that we will be back to this topic very soon. Legal and regularity, 1, 2, 3, sorry for my, I'm trying to be very fast. Regulatory framework. So we don't have the legal framework for social enterprises in Ukraine. And right now we are not trying to boost the new law, but we are trying to grow up this need from the root. So that's why we are working with the municipality. And right now we are in different groups. And right now we are developing the advocacy group on a national level in order to think how we can create the legal framework for impact-driven businesses and social enterprises. Access to the money, as I said, in 2020, with 3 other organizations, we founded the Impact Fund, Ukrainian Social Venture Fund, and Bohdan will tell a little bit more about this organization. So in order to help and to develop the impact investment in Ukraine, access to markets, we are trying and helping and support our alumnus, and we already create a community of social enterprises, helping them with an expert, helping them with participation in different events that can boost them to open the new markets and have new possibilities. Also, we are working with measuring of impact. It's the necessary part for social and impact-driven businesses. And what we are trying to do, we are trying to train and educate social enterprises how to actually build the impact measurement system for their organizations. This is our initiative, humanitarian initiative that we started from the beginning of the war, our partners, and here is our contact. I think that maybe Mykyta then will be able to share our presentation so you can contact with us, and I will stop here. Sorry for taking such a long time. that's with what our organization are working actually, and so it's very strong focus on social entrepreneurship. Thanks.
Thank you, Alena. If I may, taking into account the data that Nina and you shared with us about the post-war career of Ukraine and the fact that it will fall on the shoulders of the SMBs, what kind of assistance from the international community does your NGO need in order to continue to support social entrepreneurs in Ukraine, to give them opportunity to flourish successfully for the next 20 to 30 years?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mykyta. As actually Nina already said, so we need the impact funds in Ukraine, not only ours, because we are the only one right now. That's first. Then we need the legal framework for providing the impact investments. And we are working on this. So if it can be the help in advocating such kind of initiative or international experience, that successful experience from other country, how to create this legal framework for impact investments, we would be very grateful. What we are doing, so right now we are trying to make the national status for such organization. At least they will have all our alumni from Accelerator, the National Accelerator, they will have impact strategies and impact measurement system. So they will have impact goals, and with this, they can apply for international impact investments. But we need promotion through the community of impact funds and globally, that they can support Ukrainian impact-driven businesses. And we need new markets. I mean, the scaling, right now, the market in Ukraine is really stagnating, and we need access to international markets. Because right now it's food, it's production, it's clothes, it's even some not heavy metal, the heavy details. I don't know how it will be in English for the technical hardware. And if in your network you have also experience how to enter the new markets for such kind of goods and services, we are very open.
Thank you, Alena. Thank you for the inspiring speech, actually. And yeah, social economy is a must, and what you do in your organization is critical to Ukraine's economy and its transition to a social one. Great. Here we come actually to the last part of our session. We managed to learn a lot about the social economy of Ukraine, and the last thing we will have the opportunity to hear and probably discuss is the activities of local funds to support social initiatives in Ukraine. And the person who will tell us about all this is Dr. Bohdan Androshchuk, a head of Eastern Partnership Unit at NGO Child Fund, Deutschland, and a co-founder and board member at Ukraine's Social Venture Fund, and of course a social investor at Urban Space 500 in Ukraine. So Bohdan, it's my pleasure to share this floor with you.
Thank you, Mykyta. Thank you to all of you. Thank you, colleagues and participants. It's a really great pleasure to introduce our fund. Alena mentioned she's our CEO. That's why it's a great pleasure for me as a member of the board to introduce our work in Ukraine. And first of all, I have to say that there are 4 co-founders of Ukrainian Social Venture Fund in Ukraine. It's a SILab that Alena represents today. It's the Ukrainian NGO School of Me. It's Western Nice Enterprise Fund, and Child Fund Deutschland, the organization that I am representing today. Olena, and Nina mentioned that the last year was very, very difficult for Ukraine, and the current year is not easier. It's the current year has a lot of challenges for us, and the future, we do not know what the future holds for us, but we know for sure what we can do today in order to make the future better in Ukraine, especially in the field of social economy. And the Ukrainian Social Venture Fund is I would say, is a new but a great player of the Ukrainian social economy. I will share a very short presentation in order to make visible who we are and what we are doing. Just a moment. So can you see the presentation? So in order to treat all challenges and to meet all needs in Ukraine, it's very important to think inclusive, to think social, to think innovative. Our fund, Ukraine Social Venture Fund, was founded 2020, as I said, by 4 organizations, and the goal is to shape a new kind of thinking, of acting, and of engaging in the field of social entrepreneurship and in the field of social startups and social-oriented business. The unique selling point of the Ukraine Social Venture Fund is its approach to awarding partially repayable grants. And we were able to pilot this approach in 2020 and reap the first successes. 5 social enterprises received social investments totaling 20,000 euros, and 10% of those social enterprises were able to return after 1 year after the pilot program was completed. And at the beginning of 2022, we wanted to expand this successful impact approach, but then came the Russian attack on Ukraine, and it was unfortunately not possible for us. And we saw that a lot of social enterprises or impact-oriented enterprises left the eastern part of Ukraine and went to the western part of Ukraine, and they needed our support, and they needed not only money or funding, they needed not financial support. And at the end, I think at the end of March, we started to meet all needs of social enterprises who relocated their enterprises to the western part of Ukraine. We focus, or last year we focused focused not only on existing social enterprises, but we also offered young social startups the opportunity to get involved in social entrepreneurial and impact-oriented field during our incubation and social award programs with our partners, for example, with SILab Ukraine or with School of Me. We have offered comprehensive support, and in doing so, we have also learned more about the players in the social entrepreneurial field during the war. It was very special experience for us because no one were prepared for those challenges. Is in the social entrepreneurial field, and no one were prepared for the war, but we managed to react and to support the field, to support our actors who we have been cooperating since years. And it's very important to say that this support from our side is crucial for not only for today, for today's day, for the current time. It's crucial for the time after the war. Within the framework of our commitment, we focus on three important areas, such as integration of vulnerable people, such as development of social services and innovative products, and such as implementation of sustainable solutions. When investing, we differentiate between four different phases in which we work with social enterprises or social startups: early stage, growth stage, access to non-financial support, and post-investment support. Based on these phases, we also form a strong community of social enterprises and socially oriented businesses, which in turn further develops the entire ecosystem in Ukraine. We learned that many consequences caused by the Russian war could be covered by social enterprises or social-oriented business in Ukraine. For example, they created new jobs for IDPs. They produced urgent goods such as bedding or food for IDPs and local people. They delivered support for small producers and farmers, what Nina mentioned. They created digital solutions for current social, medical, or ecological challenges. In this way, we killed two birds with one stone, promoted social enterprises, and hereby solved the most urgent social problems of IDPs in Ukraine. In this way, we have helped social enterprises and social startups become more resilient. It's very important because you hear a lot currently about resilience and promotion of resilience in Ukraine. And we helped our target groups to become innovative in order to continue their important work and develop their own ecosystem. And of course, the most important thing is that by promoting the social entrepreneurship sector, we can achieve social impact for Ukrainian society in both the short and long-term perspectives, which we can demonstrate through concrete SDGs, as you see on the slide. In this way, we can also measure, improve, or correct our approach to work and invest. Through their activities, social enterprises improve the quality of life for various vulnerable groups, from older people to children with disabilities, from socially disadvantaged families to former drug addicts, and so on, as you see on the slide. We covered last year, and we are covering currently the whole Ukraine, especially in the western part of Ukraine, because a lot of, as I mentioned, a lot of social enterprises or socially oriented businesses, they moved to the western part of Ukraine. And I think Ukraine should and will become a place where you can think, where you can rethink, where you can shape and reshape, and Ukraine will and should become a safe place for creation, for co-creation, for new ways of thinking, of inclusive innovation and social ways of shaping. And I invite you to become a part of this process to make Ukraine and therefore the whole Europe and the world more innovative, inclusive, and social. You can find our contact details on our websites or in the social networks, and or contact direct Nina, sorry, not Nina, Olena, or other players of Ukraine Social Venture Fund. And thank you very much. I'm looking forward to cooperate, to answer your questions, or to work on our joint topics within the social economy in Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you, Bogdan. Thank you for this, again, inspiring topic discussion. And actually, we have lots of questions in the chat, especially around 5 to 6 questions from Oksana has. And Oksana, would you mind to share them in voice, or would you like me to read them? Oh, I can see.
Hey, sorry, I have here a company. Thanks a lot for your inspiring presentations. This is really amazing work you are doing. I have a question. So my main question is on your relations with the local authorities in Ukraine. And this question comes from my research background, because with colleagues, we are working a lot on this direction. And as Alena was mentioning, working with municipalities, I'm wondering what is the kind of relations you are having with municipalities? Are they open? Are they supportive? And another question is maybe also to all the speakers, if you find public-private partnerships as a format useful to work in this direction of social businesses. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Oksana. Can I start first? Because I'm on a trip somewhere in western part of Ukraine in the car, and my computer is dead already. So, Oksana, if you will contact me directly, I can share with you the programs that we've been developing. We started with Vinnytsia before the COVID. It actually was their request from the municipality, because traditionally, I don't know if you made the research, you know that they have a lot of local social enterprises and they somehow support them. So they have a local community. The idea was how the municipality can create conditions in order to support the existence of new social enterprises and support already existing and growing companies. And according to the parts of ecosystems that I presented in my presentation, that regulations, education, culture, and access to finance, we developed the program and designed it according to this part. So we made different focus groups with different stakeholders. We've been working like 3 months. It was a group of experts, and we've been working with all different groups of stakeholders, and then include all their ideas and feedback to this program. So it was a kind of guidelines for municipality, how to support and develop the social enterprises, entrepreneurship in Vinnytsia region. Then, as a result of this, it was a program for 3 years. As a result of they announced it, and actually it was the first in Ukraine. And then one of Frankivsk came to us saying that we want to do the same. So then COVID started and we've been providing it online. And then another, I cannot announce right now, but then 3 other municipalities from central and western part of Ukraine came to us because they wanted to do the same. So we have the algorithm, how to do this. And actually the text of the program, they are different in Vinnytsia and Ivano-Frankivsk, but they are public, and I can share you next week. If you will contact me, I will show you how it works right now. because this Ivano-Frankivsk we just finished before the war. I didn't. Last year was completely crazy and very overwhelmed with all startups that we supported. But yeah, somehow they actually started to work. It was initiative of municipalities, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm happy to add as well. Like overall, our idea is to build an ecosystem where exactly private and public sector is actually working together through effective mechanism. So within the input business, one of the partner from the public sector is Ministry of Digital Transformation, and all ongoing programs, right? I think it's exactly the time in Ukraine. It's impossible right now to stand alone. So it's just the challenge, I think. It's just different way of working, right? Obviously, sometimes different priorities, and then readiness overall. That what as Alena was mentioning of the reforms in the country, right? So you could address many challenges. You need to work with public sector, and then you as well need to work with policymakers and so on around in order to make many things happen. But there is no way to go without that, and that's why I think we see many initiatives that are happening, not just within our segment that we are driving, but within other segments between the public and private sector. So I do believe it's a way to go.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Alena, for your replies. I also noticed a question from Ria.
Hello, actually, this session is really inspiration because we have similar experience in Myanmar, but it's a little bit different from Ukraine. But I'm also a social entrepreneur, but it's so difficult to work on my social impact. For example, I've been working on education, but when it comes to conflict and civil wars, I cannot do education. I have to do other things like food supply and medicine supplies. So mostly we are depressed, So I also believe in social enterprises, but what I find the challenge is to motivate ourselves and to motivate others to do social impact. So I have been seeing a lot of every one of you have been doing a great job, and I wonder that how do you motivate people to stick the social impact, because if you do social impact, you need to emphasize a lot of energy, you need to give a lot of energy. So how do you motivate them rather than doing regular business? That's what I want to know, so that I can apply not only my social enterprise but also my fellow friends. Thank you.
Should I could start quickly. So how we motivate our businesses to do a social impact and just do the business. I think I mentioned in the beginning that it's overall, when the war has started, the whole community and especially SME segment has united a lot and started to transform their business models or pivot their business or creating or engage. I think the right word would be even engage with volunteer opportunities, right? So the society united around and business owners united around without even planning to become impact business or a social business. It just happened, right? So I think here we're facing not the challenge of motivating, to be honest, in Ukraine. It's more about how to make it sustainable. So how this approach could become part of their business model for long term, and what actually benefits it could bring them, and how they could play active role within the economic recovery, right, within the overall Ukraine recovery. So how we could make sure that they are active actors within those processes. I think this is where our challenge main, and that's going back as well to Oksana, a question is there is an ecosystem in place that is unite the private and public sector in an effective way. So I think we focusing currently on two main things, like one is educating businesses, or what does it mean to have impact component in strategic way. So it could open them benefits and opportunity and as part of European Union integration process. And the second one is how we could build how we collaborate with the public sector and policymakers and so on in order to create an ecosystem where they could thrive, right? And they could take an active part. I mean, that's how I see at least right now. So I don't think we're really facing that challenge. But obviously, there is, like, we don't need to be fooled. There is numerous businesses who are on the point of survival, right? And when the war in the country, the most important first is the surviving, right? And so it's starting with human, going to the business perspective and to the government perspective and so on. So survival first, but that's the thing that businesses taking the active part in addressing many challenges in this direction.
Maybe
if you want to add something.
Yeah. Thank you, Nina. I would say I share this opinion, this observation with Nina. But for us, for the Ukraine's Social Venture Fund, it was very important to support that all motivated enterprises or social startups at the beginning of the war, because they were looking for new actors, for new partners, and they were motivated. But it's very important to support this motivation, not once, not twice, but systematically. And as Nina said, yes, it's not about motivation. It's not about only social entrepreneurship in the direct sense of this word, but it's about surviving. And in order to survive, you will be, I think, creative. But nevertheless, you should promote this creativity, this motivation, in order not to give up.
Thank you, Bogdan. Thank you, Nina. Actually, thank you to all our speakers today. Already filled with incredible energy, and perhaps our audience still has questions for our speakers. I hoped for questions and comments, and we got them. So thank you for being active audience during this session. We already stretched our session for additional 16 minutes. So I'm not going to steal any more minutes of your lifetime. So thank you one more time for being with us today. I will provide you with all the presentations from our speakers, and you'll receive also contact information. Feel free, reach out to me if you have any desire to support Ukrainian chapter members, or if you have anything to suggest for us. So thank you, and stay safe in this hard time, at least for Ukraine, but I believe for the whole world.